first thing I want to say, just like congratulations on the success for Bitterroot, because like a phenomenal series. 2 Eisners, I believe, for like best continuing series twice. So like that's crazy. Yeah, so my question is for that for like what attracted you to work on Bitterroot, and was there anything with like David and Chuck's pitch that was like, nah, I gotta get on this book, like this is the book I'm doing, like, so I just wanted to get some insight on that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I said earlier, I mean, we were already kind of phasing out from Marvel. We had these ideas kind of floating around. They were kind of in pieces, and so we decided to come together and try to, make this thing work, because we knew that the Harlem Renaissance story setting was a great story to have as a background. And then as we started to put that together, we started to think about everything that transpired, the reason why the Harlem Renaissance even was established. And we were like, oh, wow, as we researched, it was like, man, there's a lot of story just in history that we could use as a kind of a launching pad, or a kind of a conduit to create our stories moving forward. And the steampunk aspect of it, the using the whole again, culturally, cultural issues, societal issues, all that stuff, all kind of permeated through our planning and designing and creating the world. And we were like, man, this thing is not just a bunch of Black people fighting monsters. This thing has a lot of weight to it. And so that got me even more excited. We knew that we had something that really wasn't done. I mean, the whole whomever fighting monsters is kind of like the easiest, thing to create, or at least to kind of set up. But what do you do with that makes it unique and stand out from all the other monster fighters, monster hunter stories that's out there? And so, I was super excited about the different elements that were so unique to our story, the steampunk and the Harlem Renaissance, history in general, all that stuff. The family, two opposing, viewpoints on how to fight this infestation of monster. All that stuff was just like, it just started coming together. And that's what keeps me excited, is knowing that we have something that's so rich and evergreen, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. Yeah, and yeah, that's the thing when you said, like, when I picked it up, like I never saw anything like what you guys did, like in terms of like taking steampunk and the Harlem Renaissance, taking that history and just doing stuff with the Jinnu, and taking inspiration from like just African American folklore, I guess, as well. I was like, oh, that's different, and it's like it's what's needed now, especially since you have stuff like with Black Panther, and then you also have like people in the Black arts community, like for example, like Ronaldo Anderson with like the speculative arts, like Black arts movement and all that. I thought this book was it's super important, and people really need to check it out. And I loved what y'all crafted. But a question though is that like, is there an artist from the Harlem Renaissance that you took inspiration from for this book? Like one, I know probably a bunch, but I just wanted to see if you have like one in mind that stood out to you.
Not really, just one, because it was so like it just hit like a runaway train, where we started looking at the history and how we could tie history into our story. And honestly, that's what inspired me more than anything, because it was like stuff that we you kind of know a little bit about, or you heard some things like the Tulsa, massacre, right?
Tulsa massacre, yeah.
You heard about these things. You didn't really. Again, this kind of goes back to your point of how, not just culturally, but I think just in a academically, to some degree, it's those stories, that information in history really gets kind of brushed over unless you're in a very specific space. And then you'll learn about these stories. And we felt like, man, here's an opportunity that where we can kind of penetrate an audience that's is just being real, that's majority white male. Can we
Mm-hmm.
pull off this black story, because that's what it is, in this
Mm-hmm.
space, but also bring in this other audience that really wants this kind of content, but there's not a lot there for them. Storm, Black Panther is all you have for the
Yeah,
most part,
exactly.
right? And what else is there? That's the biggest thing. Honestly, that's one of the biggest motivators for us doing our series, was we were trying to create the next thing that can bring in that audience, and so that they can feel that there's something out there for them to enjoy other than Black Panther and Luke
Mm.
Cage.
Exactly.
So that's that was, for me, like I said, it wasn't a whole lot of like one specific creator or whatever. It was just all of it that
Mm-hmm.
really, and still do. I'm still excited about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, when I was a kid, well, even now, I always said like, yeah, like I didn't 10 years from now, I would, or even 15 years when I was a kid, like I never thought I'd get a Black Panther movie. Like,
Right,
all I had was Blade growing up. Like, come on, that's all I was getting. So the
right.
fact that yeah, you guys are, and also hopefully myself will, have create our own stories the way we want them to,
Mhm.
add more to the space is just, is the goal, and I think you guys definitely achieved that. You guys are having a movie coming out that's being developed by Regina King of all people. Yeah, so congrats on that as well.
Thank
It's good stuff. Are you excited for the movie? Like, or like, what? Like, are you excited to finally see y'all's vision on screen? Like, how's that feel?
Absolutely, man. I mean, that's everyone's end goal for the most part, is to see their idea come to fruition, first in the printed media, and then to go off into some other form of medium, whether it's TV or film or whatever. Yeah, absolutely, man. It's kind of surreal. We're very humbled, and honestly, I try to just keep my head down and focus on creating the stories, because you see the articles, you see the buzz, and
Mhm.
that stuff is awesome. But I'm in this industry, and I've seen so many things at the peak, and it kind of dissipates afterwards. So I'm not saying that this is. I'm not saying I think like that. I'm just saying I understand how it can be up one day and
Mhm.
not around the next. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I mean, we're definitely excited. We actually got some pretty cool news last week. I think it was last
Oh
week.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that's all I can say on that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm not even gonna ask you. I'm like, oh, like, can you give us? No, I know you can't. I'm gonna be real. I know you can't. So it's just, it's
yeah,
all good. But yeah, I'm happy to hear. Happy that you guys are definitely excited. I mean, it's well deserved. So,
yeah.
um,
Thanks.
but yeah, no problem.